I was drinking water, muted myself. Good evening, everybody. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good night if you're in Europe. Thank you so much for joining me today, for joining us today. If you're new, bunch of new voices have been added yesterday and today, and thank you so much to Big Accounts for the shout outs. I appreciate you so, so much. The more the merrier, the stronger our voice is together, united, the better. So I truly appreciate you. If you're first time joining, you can comment, you can express your opinion and feelings. If you have anything that contradicts anything I'm saying, I gladly would stay corrected if you provide any sources or evidence or anything like that. And if you're just sharing feelings because you don't like me or what I'm saying, okay, you can share it. It's just I'm not going to reply to it because I'm not certified in that kind of help. So we're going to start with RNC. We're going to get through that. We got a cruise. It's the last time for now us discussing RNC. It's the last night yesterday. We're going to have clips. We're going to have evidence. And then we're going to talk about the actual news. And thank you for liking my new hashtag actual news thing. And I think this is something that will not be copied by other channels because that would just compromise everything else they have been saying. So I think this is ours now. So then we get into the news, and then I'll share plans from the Biden-Harris administration for the next week. What's going to happen? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to speak? Okay, sounds good. All righty. So RNC, first, before Trump spoke yesterday, CNN was already in awe. They were having a moment, if you may, before even everything started. Take a look.
There's no victory in winning for half of America.
Oh, was I muted? No. Okay, here we go.
There's no victory in winning for half of America. This is, at least according to these excerpts, quite different from what we're used to hearing from Donald Trump. And one could, I think, credibly argue it's not how he particularly governed in his first administration.
It's already the win for America, the half of the America, and all of this. And again, as Jake Tapper. Yeah, okay. Then RNC night 4 starts. And so the first to enter to big applause was Melania. We haven't seen the former First Lady Melania Trump forever. And my guesstimation is she hasn't seen those folks forever too, or either. Take a look, just 6 seconds. Family meeting. And so the family meeting proceeded, and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump were there. And I'm not a specialist in mouthing or whatever they're saying, but pay attention what's going on here. So first of all, that song is like Hail to the Chief there. Every time Trump moves, this song plays. Now, I had an impression that the entire Trump family met there for the first time since ever, including spouses. Listen, this is just my impression. You can judge me, you can hate me, but hi, how are you? You look beautiful, thanks. And you, how are you? This type of conversations, if you're together, kind of weird, but okay, we'll leave it up to them. So the family gathered. Let me check a comment. James Brown would like a word. Exactly. Ta-ta. So the family gathered, right? Melania is there, Ivanka is there. We haven't seen them for ages. There's also a clip where Tiffany wanted to say hi to her dad, and she came in with a big hug. Hi! And Trump said, not now, and just turned away. That exists too. But then the RNC started with Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was in his element. And by the way, if you have me on full volume, maybe dial it down a notch. Check it out.
The United said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Okay. Well, media had a great impression from this speech, and you think they would say, well, that was kind of cuckoo. Well, check this out.
People like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan gave what I would say is probably the best speech at this convention so far, and there have been speeches that have blown the roof off this place. People who love the conservative politics here, who love MAGA. Hogan came in here, he did something completely different. He also was just entertaining, right? He was funny, he made people laugh, and even if you don't care for the politics here, he might have entertained you. And on top of that...
So Hulk Hogan gave the best speech at that convention. This. Make America Great Again. Hulkamania will take our... That's what it was all about. May I remind you how a good or a great speech at a convention might look like?
Strongest economy in the world. We have the most productive workers in the world. And given a fair shot, given a fair chance, Americans have never, ever, ever, ever let their country down. Never. Never. Ordinary people like us who do extraordinary things. We've had candidates before who attempted to get elected by appealing to our fears, but they've never succeeded because we do not scare easily. We never bow. We never bend. We never break when confronted with crisis. No, we endure, we overcome, and we always, always, always move forward. That's why I can say with absolute conviction, I am more optimistic about our chances today than when I was elected as a 29-year-old kid to the Senate. The 21st century is going to be the American century.
But you may say Hulk Hogan gave a great speech. And this is media that has been covering all types of conventions. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. The real news. Thank you. Thank you for calming me down this morning. Yeah, I saw your comments checking MSNBC just as you had your first coffee of the day. Gladly will calm anybody. Please comment. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Sheesh, Hulk Hogan, the guy who also treats his daughters like a... Yes, I saw that reality series. Sorry about that. Oh, I don't even... Thank you so much. I don't know why, and he said he wants to host them. The crime rate probably went up by 200. Actually, it was very boring. I'll give you the details later. I'll have a readout about Milwaukee, because Milwaukee was expecting so much business because of the convention, and actually not much business came in, and they complained about it. But I have the entire fact check and everything for you. 58 points. So now let's talk about Trump. The biggest speech, yada, yada, yada. So I skipped the wife beater, Dana White. He praised Trump. He does nothing special. So it started with them wheeling the clothes in the form of the firefighter who was the victim that unfortunately passed away as a result of the shooting at the Trump rally. So take a look how that looked. So, okay, they're wheeling the form. I have some pictures so you can see up and close what that was. This is Trump wheeling the form or the clothes, the attire. He then talked about this firefighter completely mispronouncing the name. He said something comperatoire, and it's comperatore, right? Maybe I mispronounced it too, but certainly it was. And then he went over and kissed the helmet. I mean, he does that with the flag too. I guess this is an upgrade. So that first happened, and then he talked briefly about the victim. and mentioned, I have to say, he mentioned that they raised, there's no proof, but he mentioned they raised about $6.3 million for Corey Comparatore family and other two victims that are in critical condition. Again, no update on those victims either. There's also no update on which hospital Trump went to. I tried to get it out. They just don't give any information. There's no information to even call a hospital to find out what the heck happened. But we talk about that soon. So, and then he called for a minute of silence, which he also broke in about 20 seconds and said, okay, let's move on and talk. And then the big moment. He started talking about the assassination attempt. And he started sharing his experience. And he said, I'm going to tell you all about it for the first and last time. Otherwise, it just hurts so much for me to say. So I want you to listen to this. It's 6 minutes. You have to get through it. I know, but listen, I'm saving you 90 minutes of this. 6 minutes. Also, I want to mind you, if you're having snacks or you're drinking drinks, set it aside for those 6 minutes. And while you do that, let's read the comments real quick. I can tell you that Grindr said the amount hookups went up. Yep. I think so. 93 minutes of insanity. Yeah. Speaking of, did Trump ever contact the firefighter's wife? He mentioned her. She didn't enter the stage. She didn't say anything. Also, I think if she were there at the convention, she would have spoken or at least had an interview somewhere. At least to my knowledge, there was none of it. If you have any information, I gladly will stay corrected, as I mentioned. So are we ready to watch the 6 minutes? By the way, or watch it with an open mind. Imagine you went to a Broadway show and it's like, just easier to digest. Here we go.
And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people, at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper. And then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a master class in something. Yeah. I just want to it's a bad quality picture, apologies, but this is the hand that was all in blood all over the place. And you maybe saw they brought up like a White House background with green screen, and then they showed pictures, but they never showed the picture of the bloody hands. And I tried to find the picture of the bloody hand, could not find it. What would I love it if there was an actual medical? Yeah, exactly. And this is what we have been, asking. At least I have been asking, and there is no answer. There's not even a hint of which hospital he went to. Not even that. So absolutely nothing as to whether, because I saw your comment as to we see any proof of what money they raised and who did it went to and whatnot. We don't know either. There is no, they just mentioned 6.3 million. Somebody mentioned 6 million, but there is nothing else. yes, Republican National Cult. Yeah, it kind of felt like, covering some sort of like a cult meeting, because it's everybody's so focused on him, and whatever he says, they're happy. And the band-aids were sold out in Milwaukee, so they like started putting like pieces of paper over the right ear. Like, it's just weird. I have really no other words to share with you. Yet President Biden has COVID, and his doctor gives an update every day. Absolutely. And also in terms of like a cognitive um, updates, and this is what I shared. I shared it with you. I also emailed their team and everywhere. I would love to ask the Trump team to release the medical records showing the exact treatment that was received post assassination attempt. And after this speech, the nation deserves to see the cognitive test too, because he has been blabbering for 90 minutes. So he finished the story, which he was reading off the teleprompter, and then it was a typical rally talk. Crazy Nancy and the all this nonsense that he has been saying, in Hannibal Hector, and he wants to have you for dinner, and all of this kind of crazy talk. So that was all represented. This is how CNN evaluated it. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Trump tells the Republican convention it's recounts in detail his attempted assassination. There are tears streaming down the faces of some of the audience. My question is this: where, honey, do you see details? Because I'm just putting, God forbid, trying to understand this. If anybody was hurt, my family or anybody who's very near and dear to me, or, God forbid something was with me, I would love to know, who was it? What was the gun? What was the bullet? Where is the bullet? What was the bullet that hit the guy who passed away? God bless his soul. What were the bullets that hit the other victims? What happened to them? What was the trajectory? Like, I would love to know the details. And what I don't understand, that the cult members are not worried enough about him to raise those questions. Does he have any other damage? Does he have any brain bleeding? Anything? It was not. I mean, if you Google AR-15 and if it hits you or comes near you, how does that look like? That is questionable. So why nobody raises questions, and why are we calling this story? It was a beautiful day, the music was playing, and then something big hit me, and I thought, oh my God, it must be assassination. And I thought, I'm dying. So I went down, and then I was asking for my shoes, and then I was asking for my cappy and everything, and there was so much blood, yet there is no blood on the cuff, and it's like nowhere, but on the ear. Like, we have questions. We are worried about him too, because he's one of the candidates, and if he wins, then he is the president for 4 years. Can he perform the duties? If you're voting for him, I think you should be the first to ask those questions, not even everybody else, So I'm surprised the Kool-Aid was not passed. It was passed before, I guess, everything. So let's continue. So my tweet records video. Okay. So my favorite from the rally, or no, from the convention was sort of this video that I thoroughly enjoyed. Let me show you. This happened right actually before Trump was speaking. Check it out.
Secret Service issue and to reach out to the Secret Service. But I can tell you this, they have a lot of questions as to who exactly at the Trump campaign knew and when, because I have talked to a number of people who have been on the ground with the former president in recent days and weeks who had no idea. Now, one thing to remember is that Donald Trump is a very tight-knit security team. He has been with the same detail for years. He is very close to them. They have a lot of respect for him, and he has a lot of respect for them.
Give this guy a medal, or at least a bottle of water or something. So Trump proceeded speaking incoherently. Maybe you can tell me what he means here. Let's take a listen.
America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it, Japan wants to do it, all of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new, if you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine?
I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know. Also, people start leaving. So they probably didn't understand what the heck he was talking about. And I have the full fact check. So I'm going to spare the time showing the clips, him saying certain things. I'm going to go through the checklist. But let's first listen to this very happy talk about immigration.
They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I actually like this guy who commented after the convention, after Trump's speech. Check it out.
Rachel, you can see former President Trump, J.D. Vance, right here. I have to tell you, Rachel, it's an almost unspeakable feeling to be in a room that's such a celebratory nature and hear the man behind me talk about deporting more people than President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1954, an operation with a name so racist that it's not appropriate to say on television. He's talking about removing more than 10 million people from this country who have been here, many of them since they were little children, contribute to this society, contribute to this economy, live in all of our neighborhoods and communities. And now we're throwing balloons around as if this is a party. He talked about the Democrats, again, cheating. Cheat was the word he used in the last election, after saying he was here to unify the nation. And it's a bizarre feeling that I'm not sure I'm able to fully articulate right now.
Suborov, let's give him a follow. This guy is going against it. He's on MSNBC telling all this while they're praising Trump. So, snack advisory. If you want to grab water or snack, take it. I'm going to read out because I have to be factual. All the 58 lies that Trump mentioned. So enjoy. If you want to ask questions. By the way, I'm not going too much, obviously, into detail debunking this. If you want me to go into detail, I certainly can go into any of those 58 points, explaining what and why. I'm explaining what sort of debunking it. But if you want to dig into detail, just let me know. So first, Trump said we're spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development in Wisconsin, and told the voters, I'm trying to buy your vote, end quote. Local Milwaukee business owners have said that the city feels like a ghost town, even with the RNC in town, and local leaders have contradicted this figure. Second, Trump said we did a great job with COVID. Well, an examination reveals that the president was warned about the potential for a pandemic, but that internal divisions, lack of planning, and his faith in his own instinct led to a halting response. May I direct you to the leak by actually the son of RFK Jr., Connor, who fought in Ukraine also a couple of months ago incognito, joining Ukrainian army. And so he joined those volunteers to work for Trump and distribute aid through FEMA. And he leaked the memo where it was revealed that actually the funds were stolen. So I'm going to read comments in just a second. So third, Trump said nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. Obviously, we've seen economies pre-COVID. That's ridiculous. Fourth, Trump said, wait a second, fourth, Trump said we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID coming in, and that he never got credit for that. Well, so much here to read. Wait a second. Okay, Trump left office with the worst jobs record in modern U.S. history. The stock market grew less under Trump than the presidents Obama and Clinton. Okay. 5, Trump took credit for the biggest tax cuts ever. Trump's tax giveaways were for the wealthy, actually giveaways for the wealthy were smaller than 2 middle-class tax cuts passed under President Obama. 6, Trump took credit for the biggest regulation cuts ever. An independent report found that Trump greatly exaggerated or outright lied about his regulation record. Trump said, under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. Well, we just saw at NATO conference how everybody respects Joe Biden and how everybody respects the United States and its leadership. 8, Trump said our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III, which isn't true. What actually did happen, that the coalition is more united than ever, that we also extended our security agreements to the IP4, so-called IP4, which is Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, which is securing also the Indo-Pacific region and basin. 9, Trump said, I will end the devastating inflation crisis. He will make actually inflation worse. I reported on it this week that because he wants to increase the tariffs, actually the prices for food and other commodities will go up. 10, Trump said, we will also reduce your taxes still further next. And by the way, Democrats want to raise your taxes 4 times. Well, unless he was speaking to the rich, he was right. But actually, per Project 2025, per his statements, he's actually planning to increase tax for average Americans and give tax giveaways to the high income earners. 11, Trump said we'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. His plans for a second Trump famously exploded the deficit in his first term, and his plans for a second will raise taxes on the middle and working class, which I just mentioned. 12, Trump said, I will bring back the American dream. Well, if it's for billionaires, maybe. Trump has promised more tax giveaways for billionaires, but would raise taxes on middle-class families by about $2,500. 13, Trump said, I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, and that the war in Russia and Ukraine and the war in Israel would have never happened if he was president. Well, he was president while the war in Ukraine did happen. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. And let's not even talk about Israel and Palestine. This has been going on for a really long time. 14, Trump said they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. Well, they were not. There is reports. I don't want to dig into it, but there's proof that it has not been even discussed. So 15, Trump repeated his lies about the 2020 election, saying that the Democrats used COVID to cheat, and said that the election results were never right, and we would have never had it happen. So actually, Joe Biden beat Trump by 7 million votes, fair and square, which is a fact. 16, Trump said, just a few short years ago under my presidency, we had the most secure border, which is a lie. Border apprehensions went up under Donald Trump from President Obama. And we're going to talk about the border in a bit soon. 17, Trump said, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. Even the Washington Post called that this claim is ridiculous. 18, Trump said we had no inflation under his watch. There was, in fact, inflation under Trump. 19, Trump said we've had the worst inflation we've ever had under President Obama, which is false, and inflation is falling under President Biden's leadership. And I reported, by the way, on this. There's a whole article how the prices are going down right now. 20, Trump said in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. Trump actually inherited a booming economy and left one in shambles. Under President Biden, the U.S. economy is leading in the world. 21, Trump said Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taking, by the way, who's taking the jobs? The jobs that are being created. 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. First of all, What is 107%? This is not even realistic. And illegal aliens, what are we talking about? 22, Trump amplified the dangerous and false Great Replacement theory that has been reported to fuel violence against communities of color. Quote, he said, the greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They're coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, and Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed. And this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. Well, border crossings are falling under President Biden. As I reported, just yesterday it was announced that since that executive order that Biden has introduced in May resulted in the border crossings, illegal border crossings at the southern border going more than 50% down. And as we know, Trump was the one to call up on Congress and, asking his MAGA affiliates not to pass the policy that would have solved it even better. So 23, Trump said Republicans have a plan to bring down prices. As I mentioned, each household will pay $2,500 even more. Trump said under the Trump administration just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent. Well, America is more energy independent than ever under Joe Biden, which was actually a causation, had a relation to causation of related to Russia invading Ukraine. So 25, Trump said we will reduce our debt by 36 trillion. Well, deficit skyrocketed during Trump's first term, and his second term proposals will add massively to our debt. 26, Trump said the Inflation Reduction Act is fueling the inflation crisis and called it a scam. The IRA lowered prescription drug costs for seniors, decreased the deficit, and is creating jobs across the country. 27, Trump said, I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. We're going to bring back car manufacturing. In fact, I reported last week that Biden administration has invested in producing electric cars, and they're actually investing into 11 factories in 8 states, and that will result into tens of thousands of jobs. 28, Trump promised manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. Well, he promised the same in 2016 and didn't do it. 29, Trump said, I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Well, as we are reporting extensively, Project 2025 actually promises to reduce or actually eliminate such aid. 30, Trump said Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare. Again, President Biden will protect Social Security and Medicare while Trump vowed to cut it. 31, Trump said that under his plan, jobs will come roaring back and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before. Well, economists predict Trump's agenda will trigger a recession and set off an inflation bomb, which I again reported this past week. 32, Trump said border crossings are the worst it's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Border crossings are falling thanks to that fair actions taken according to the executive order introduced by Biden. 33, Trump said less than 4 years ago, I handed the administration, this administration, the strongest border in American history. Well, the border crossings were nearly 15% higher when Trump left office than before he was inaugurated. 34, Trump said with our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. Well, there were dozens of unresolved wars and armed conflicts when Trump left office. 35. Trump said our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. There were dozens of unresolved wars and armed conflicts when Trump entered office. And by the way, the Ukrainian war was ongoing. The conflict between Israel and Palestine was ongoing, and so forth. 38. Trump said Democrats hired 88,000 IRS agents to go after a waitress tips. This is false. The IRS is cracking down on wealthy tax cheats and giant corporations, not working families. And I reported again just this week that Biden administration has announced that they just got over $1 billion in tax that were past due from high income earners, specifically billionaires. which explains why billionaires supporting Trump, by the way. 37. Trump said our crime rate is going up. Violent crime has fallen actually to a near 50-year low under President Biden. So 38. Trump said immigrants were coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. There's no evidence of this. And this is pure hatred. And this is just demonizing immigrants in the eyes of regular Americans or those who are here. 39. Trump claimed Venezuela crime rate was down by 72%. There is no evidence of that. He also proposed to have the next convention, the Republican convention in Venezuela for some reason, which weird. 40. Trump wildly inflated the price of goods. He said groceries are up 57%, gas is up 60% and 70%. Mortgage rates have quadrupled. It's just not true. It just doesn't resemble the truth. And again, if you want me to dive into any of those topics, we can get into it. I just don't want to sit here for 2 hours. But certainly we can, and perhaps we should. 41. Trump wrongly said $85 billion worth of military equipment was left behind in Afghanistan, which has been debunked by New York Times. There's a whole study on it. If you want, I can publish this. 42. Trump said Iran was broke during his presidency and that he completely stopped China from purchasing Iranian oil. Well, that isn't true. And they're still ongoing. 43. Trump absurdly said Iran was closer to a nuclear weapon because of President Biden. Trump is the one who withdrew from the Iran deal in 2018, and after which Tehran increased the uranium enrichment and increased also the testings for the bombs that they're creating. 44. Trump incorrectly said that he defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria within just a couple of months. 45. Trump said his failed Phase 1 agreement with China was the best trade deal and that China bought $50 billion worth of product. Well, China bought none of the extra $200 billion in American exports agreed to in the pact. So they did not increase any. Okay, 46. Trump said Biden demolished Title 42. Biden enforced the policy until it expired, along with COVID emergency. 47. Trump said he built most of the wall. Well, most of the Trump's wall is actually a replacement barrier. 48. Trump said he stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Well, that's actually not true. He legitimized it with his friend Kim Jong-un, and he mentioned that Kim is missing him and wants to see him back in office. That was mentioned in the rally or convention speech. 49. Trump said he ended all catch and release, which is false. Though Trump attempted to end the catch and release practice under his presidency, migrants were more likely to be released through this process under Trump compared to Biden. So according to the Libertarian Cato Institute, the analysis found that Biden's immigration authorities released 48.6% of individuals apprehended at the border, while the Trump administration released 52.2% over roughly a 2-year period. Stick with me, we're almost there. 50. Trump said illegal immigration was responsible for fentanyl death in America. Well, actually, there's a report that fentanyl overdose death spiked under Trump and decreased last year under President Biden. Also, if you do pay attention, the real news says that the State Department and Treasury have been actually hunting entire families in Mexico that are infamously trading fentanyl and making money off of it. So it's not people bringing it. 51. Trump incorrectly said that his classified documents case was a fake. We all know it's not fake. It has been prosecuted. Yes, it has been dismissed now, but now the reappeal in the 11th Circuit is still there. So, no. 52. Trump claimed his family was subpoenaed by Congress every week during his presidency, which is not true. They weren't. 53. Trump said the U.S. was indeed a nation in decline. The U.S. economy is leading in the world and actually improving. 54. Trump claimed what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. Well, under President Biden, numerous economic indicators have surpassed levels reached under Trump. 55, almost there. Trump suggested immigrants coming through the southern border were cannibals. Well, no. Racist. 56, Trump baselessly attacked Senator Jackie Rosen, saying she was not respected and a total lightweight. 57, Trump wrongly said again that he oversaw 18 months in Afghanistan where we didn't have one troop death. So the database provides data on U.S. military casualties in Afghanistan from 2015. The deaths were recorded every year since 2015, except for 2022. If Trump was referring to the period between February 2020 and August 2021, when he negotiated the Afghanistan withdrawal agreement, 15 deaths in total were recorded as hostile death. In the database was 2 in February 2020 and 13 in August 2021. Equally, non-hostile pending deaths were also registered in this period. And now 58, Trump said Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba, and the press refuses to write about it. I just reported, if you watched this live streams this week, there was one submarine that had a hole in it and was sinking. There were 2 tugboats. I showed you a video dragging this. They were by the coast of Cuba, and then they were dragged away. This is a non-functional submarine, so let's not make it up. And we're done with 58 things. So if you want me to dive into anything in detail, just let me know. I can certainly use it for next live streams. Woo! Okay. Felt more unified with the balloons. Yeah, poor balloons. Exactly. That was referring to the video with balloons. My God, this insane lie after lie. Yeah. Yep. All 58. Yes. 59 might be the thing. So he said that we finally will have sanity and common sense in the Oval Office. Now let you decide if that's the 59th truth or dare or lie. So it might be 59. Okay. But one guy is impressed by Donald Trump, and you would never guess who this guy is. So I let you be surprised. Watch this.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And, on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Really impressed, or you want to save on your tax returns? And why don't they just say he's gonna cost me less? Just say it. You don't have to make up the fist and American flag and oh, come on, man. Jeez, not you. By the way, I'm not sure if you follow some Gen Z guys that I gave a shout out. They're on the bus and they're on a tour to save democracy all across the battleground states. They're doing such a good job. One of Gen Z guys who's connected with them, I don't think he is on the bus with them, is Harry Sisson. I'm not sure if you follow him. So he is has a big influence on TikTok, on Twitter or X. And specifically, he debates MAGA people. He always asks, are you MAGA? And then they're debating. And he actually provides good factual responses and debunks. So it's not trolling. It's really, he's doing a great, truly amazing job, not just containing folks, but actually debunking and bringing the truth. And many people actually agree with him, which just shows that they don't have any substance. So Zuckerberg and yes, exactly. Okay, so why I'm talking about Harry Sisson. So he tweeted when the Supreme Court ruling came out about the immunity, he tweeted that according to Supreme Court, and then he quoted the dissent opinion by Sonia Sotomayor, Justice, that, if Trump were to, or if Biden were to call upon the the Navy SEALs or Team 6, and they would execute Trump, that would be immune. So he quoted the official dissent opinion, and the MAGA world went wild. And yes, you know, they're very much into merch. So this is what he wake up to today. And just to praise Gen Z and all the young folks, see how he reacted to it.
I don't care if I offend you. I was playing to offend you. You can cry and you can scream. You can riot in the streets. You can fund the...
I mean, are we... Oh my god. These people are psychos. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Apparently, there's a new Harry Sisson 20 to 28 years in prison shirt, along with a hat. Merchandise, I guess. These people are crazy. They need to get out more. You go outside, you know, find a hobby, make some friends, you know, go on a walk with your dog, whatever it might be. Do something else. This is super weird. Apparently, I'm going to prison because I disagree with them politically. I don't know. I thought they were the whole free speech crowd. Something changed, I guess. Listen, I gotta be honest. I'm flattered that these folks apparently think about me so much that they're putting my name on a shirt and demanding I go to jail. But I don't know, guys. The love is not reciprocated. This is very one-sided. It's just you. It's not me, okay?
Good way to debunk it, you know, when the crazies attack, that's how you stay classy. It's a good lesson. At least I take it as a lesson. So Democrats actually released a new ad, which is not trolling, has nothing to do with merge, but points people to the site using QR code to check what Project 2025 is about. So I'm going to share it with you. It's just 30 seconds, so perhaps you haven't seen it yet. Check it out.
The controversial and extreme conservative plan for the presidency known as Project 2025.
Of an executive with unprecedented power.
Crushing the independence of the FBI and the DOJ, the mass firings of civil servants,
and shutting down climate change initiatives. This is a culture war.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So also DNC has reported that during the Trump speech last night, the donations went through the roof, and that's the map they shared, and every dot represents people who have donated. And I want to draw your attention to Florida and Texas, and check it out. Florida was on fire. So good news and good update, certainly. This is brilliant advertising. Yeah, it's a great team. Also, if you follow Biden headquarters, Biden HQ, I don't know who runs the account, but certainly a young person that is trolling in a classy way, trolls everybody. So in other news today, we woke up to this CrowdStrike outage that affected Microsoft systems worldwide. That's how the airports look like all over the world. So from Netherlands to India to England to everywhere. And here also I've heard from you that some people could not log in and could not even get into computers. So let me know if that has resolved. What I shared is 2 times that the president was briefed on it, that they're staying in close touch. They're talking to the company, and also they report that it is not a cyber attack. It's rather a malfunctioning or just a wrongly functioning update or something that was just let me read out. Rather system update dysfunction. Got help from myself. I guess you guys can click on it. Matt Gaetz has a new face. Yeah, I saw it yesterday. I showed it yesterday. I don't have it here today, but yeah, it's a lot of Botox. And by the way, there was the old face the day before, and the next day was the new face. And I showed yesterday how. Just check out yesterday's live stream. You're gonna find it entertaining. It was also short, the live stream. So okay. So then. This system malfunctioned, which affected, by the way, banks, airports, a bunch of industries all over the world. And also, it affected the airport in Milwaukee, where people were flying back home after the convention. So in the morning, everybody was stuck there. And what do you think the MAGAville do? They started selling merch. There was a guy who was running around, reportedly, there's a bunch of videos, selling merch and telling people he has this in your size and come on, get it. And this is the time to support. So, plastic surgery and big was Trump. Yeah, if you look at the entire crowd yesterday, like the first rows, it certainly looked like a bit of Kardashian like. No judgment. Everybody does whatever they want to do. No judgment in that regard. So now let's go to the actual news and all the updates that happened today. So first, the POTUS doctor, so the president's doctor, shared a statement on how he's feeling. I'm going to read it out to you here. He said President Biden completed his 4th dose of Paxlovid this morning. His loose, non-productive cough and hoarseness continue to be his primary symptoms, but they have improved meaningfully from yesterday. His pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and temperature remain absolutely normal. His oxygen saturation continues to be excellent on room air. His lungs remain clear. PCR testing yesterday was confirmed that he does have COVID. Variant identification is still pending. All of his blood work was normal. Complete blood count was normal, demonstrating no anemia or evidence of bacterial infection. Similarly, his comprehensive metabolic panel demonstrated normal electrolytes as well as good kidney and liver function. The president continues to tolerate treatment well. We will continue Paxlovid as planned. In the meantime, the president continues to do the work for American people. As promised, the doctor will keep the office updated with any changes in his condition or treatment plan. And that is how transparency looks like. May we get that medical report? If somebody was shot and had an assassination attempt, can we get that report? Can we hear what the heck happened? Because that's, sorry to say, it's more serious than COVID, especially if you're vaccinated and have the entire, treatment for you. So, okay. Another readout. So today, President Biden also proclaimed, I shared it, that the week from July 21st through July 27th, 2024 is Made in America week, and he called upon all Americans to observe this week by celebrating Made in America and supporting American workers and domestic businesses that are the backbone of building a future here in America. So this is cool. I have so many comments of people saying, well, he does it because he's running for re-election. Even if, is it bad? Maybe you should be supporting something made in America, and look for union labels too, by the way. Could you please post a link to the map of the nations during after RNC that you shared? Yes, I will. They shared it as a picture, not as a link, but I can share the picture, certainly. Of course, that's official information from them. So another good news was word in the morning that CHC Bold PAC proudly endorses President Joe Biden for re-election. As the campaign arm of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Bold PAC is committed to re-electing President Biden and preventing a second Trump presidency. So the chairwoman, Linda Sanchez, said President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have delivered for the Latino community, and CHC Bold PAC is proud to endorse them for re-election. From historic investments in our infrastructure system to expanding access to affordable health care, they have championed policies that lifted up our families and communities. And they continued. I posted the full statement on my X account, so you can certainly read it. Also, another development was when leader Jeffries openly spoke about supporting Joe Biden, about all this comments and lies and anonymous sources that were saying that he certainly does not. So take a look.
Biden, as I've said repeatedly, is our nominee. He has a tremendous track record of success. He's one of the most accomplished American presidents in our history, and he has the vision I believe, the ability, the capacity, and the track record to make a case to the American people that will result in us being successful in November.
So also President Biden issued a statement today. It's a long statement. I shared it with you, where he mentioned that, quote, I look forward to getting back on the campaign trail next week to continue exposing the threat of Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda while making the case for my own record and the vision that I have for America. One where we save our democracy, protect our rights and freedoms, and create opportunity for everyone, end quote. Also, the chair for the Biden-Harris campaign issued another statement. She said the president is in this race. You've heard him say that time and time again, and I think we saw on display last night exactly why. Because Donald Trump is not going to offer anything new to the American people. He's the same person he was in 2020. I disagree. I think there is a decline. He's the same person he was at the debate stage. That, yes. He's the same person he is, that is about himself and not about the American people. And Joe Biden is more committed than ever to beat Donald Trump. And we believe on this campaign we're built for the close election that we're in. Also remains to be seen, side note. And we see the path forward. The president is the leader of our campaign and of the country. And he is clearly, in our impression and what we've built and in our engagement with voters, he's the best person to take on Donald Trump and prosecute that case and present his vision versus what we saw last night. Here you have it. So, anonymous sources, schmononymous sources, I don't know what we're talking about. This is just nonsense. Can we just stop this nonsense? Can we just calm the heck down? Because we're in July. If we continue like that till November, I mean, we're going to be skinny and dangerously anxious. Or fat and dangerously. It's how you react to stress. Either you eat or you don't stop. Relax. It's fine. It's fine. Okay? So let's check the video of our Vice President Kamala Harris. She spoke yesterday in North Carolina, and she targeted J.D. Vance, who's her counterpart, and specifically Project 2025. So take a look.
He did not talk about Project 2025, their 900-page blueprint for a second Trump term. He did not talk about it because their plans are extreme and they are divisive. In recent days, they've been trying to portray themselves as the party of unity. But here's the thing. If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word.
Love it. So also, White House correspondent for Politico, in an interview, asked one of the politicians why they keep mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name. Take a look.
I think if Kamala Harris does become the nominee, and I think she's the only choice potentially, we should be smart to pick a governor, probably someone from the East Coast to, complement her on the West Coast.
I hear Republicans often mispronouncing Vice President Kamala Harris's name. You've done it a few times. Is it a tactic, or do you guys? Is it just a tough name to pronounce?
I'm not. No. If I'm pronouncing her name wrong, I apologize. I say Kamala Harris. What? I'm honestly telling you, I wouldn't disrespect someone by pronouncing their name wrong. You say it.
Kamala.
Kamala.
L-A. Yeah,
okay, Kamala.
Like
Kamala. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a couple different ways to say it.
Okay, Kamala. I'll go with. Sorry.
Nope.
No, I don't think anyone intentionally pronounces her name. No, that's no. No one intentionally pronounces her name. I don't think. I apologize if I was. Kamala. I'll stick with Kamala.
May Trump stick with Kamala too? Because I think he certainly knows how to pronounce her name. Now, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is here in New York and representing us, she went on Instagram yesterday for an hour, and she spoke about the election, and she shared her thoughts as to why media and why The politicians, elected officials, off the record, are sharing that President Biden should be setting aside and whatnot. There's two clips that I cut out for you. First, to discuss first, you mentioned the legal aspect of it that I have been mentioning all the time. There are states where you physically wouldn't be able to let a person onto the ballot and to collect votes if this person were to be introduced now or soon. So take a look on what she shared.
The state of Ohio has legal ballot access issues that require a name to be enrolled and certified on their ballot even before the convention. And that's not because of Democrats, that's because of Republicans. And to people, there are some people that quibble and they say, oh, well, that's not really true because they actually passed this other law that allows the deadline to change. That law that allowed that deadline to quote unquote change also gets enacted and enrolled something like 60 or 90 days after passage, which now puts us in a legal gray zone. So whether you think it's above board or whether you don't think it's above board, I can tell you that it is guaranteed, and it is virtually guaranteed, and it has been confirmed by the Republican Speaker of the House that Republicans are already preparing legal challenges to any name change on the ballot that may happen, occur, arise, or be possible. And so for us, I want us to, opening this conversation, I think it's important for us to consider the stakes, okay? Before we even get into the merits, talk about the stakes. If this is even something that can be opened, right? And what we know is that we can virtually guarantee, Mike Johnson came out and said that they're absolutely preparing legal challenges to wherever it's possible. And I want to tell you, those legal challenges are most viable where? In the same handful of swing seats that are needed to win the presidency. I'm not saying every single one is counted out, but I am saying that's what's at the table. And guess what? Republicans, they mount that legal challenge. The possibility of our elections being decided by a Supreme Court ruling skyrocket.
So you saw that my phone was dying when I was watching it. That our election would be decided, or that the ticket would be decided by the Supreme Court that just gave the immunity to Trump, essentially. And that's my whole point. And thank you for commenting, JT Savoy. Thank you so much for commenting this. I'm glad that she's speaking out about that as well, because we need to be discussing the point taken, the stakes. And also, there are 3 battleground states that will not let anybody to be on the ballot. And if you want to run for presidency as a write-in, somebody will spell Kamala Harris like this and somebody like that if you want to replace with Kamala Harris. What are we even talking about? We're 100 days or something from the election. Nobody would be hurting the money either. Everything that Biden-Harris campaign has gathered can go only to Kamala Harris. But then to this point, what I also want to share with you, what AOC shared is, don't be that certain that the new nominee would be Kamala Harris if it were, discussed.
I don't think people understand what it takes in terms of running a presidential campaign. And I'm going to say what a lot of these folks aren't saying. I'm just going to say it. If you think that there is consensus among the people who want Joe Biden to leave, that they will support Vice President Harris, you would be mistaken. And I'm going to say that because if they're going to come out and say all their little things on background off the record, but they're not going to be fully honest, I'm going to be honest for them. I'm in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. A lot of them are not just interested in removing the president. They are interested in removing the whole ticket. Am I here to guarantee that that is what is going to happen, or that is what will happen? I can't tell you that, because as we all know, politics is insane. Anyone who tells you 100% what's going to happen is lying to you or engaged in an enormous amount of hubris. I'm not here to tell you that if Joe Biden is the nominee, he's definitely going to win. But because I don't think if anybody is the nominee, we're definitely going to win. Okay? And I understand where we want to talk about hedging bets, but I do want you to know what gets uncorked. Because if you think that's going to be an easy transition, I'm here to tell you that a huge amount of the donor class and a huge amount of these elites and a huge amount of these folks in these rooms that I see that are pushing for President Biden to not be the nominee also are not interested in seeing the vice president being the nominee. Will they win out on that? I don't know, but I am here to tell you, do not take that for granted. Do not take that outcome for granted.
So what she essentially is saying is that if we were to dismiss Biden, excuse my French, but a whole shit show would start, which would most certainly lead to losing to Trump. And so it would be the Trump administration then. So then I have a thought. And by the way, thank you for comments. So skipping over the VP, would eliminate? Yes, absolutely. As a veteran, I'm angered that the Chaos Caucus is throwing out vote. Absolutely. We did vote. I did vote. We did vote. It didn't count. At this point, let's just get Biden in there and he can resign in a year. Whatever he wants to do, he wants to fight the fight. And I hear from people who are working with him every day, close to him, that he's not stepping down. He wants to fight. The only thing is he is upset. He's hurt that people who he fought for are backstabbing. So don't play this game long term, where you're backstabbing an 81-year-old every day, just testing his patience, testing his intelligence, testing his willingness for this country and to fight for this country. What are you doing? Jeez. And my thought was also, this is just me, and I'm not a conspiracy person. We see that the billionaires in this pack is really for Trump. It's not because they love Trump or they are MAGA people. They just use this as a tool to govern, put it this way. Wouldn't they use Democrats who are running for re-election as a tool to disable the Democratic Party to be a threat even? It remains to be seen, right? So that's just common sense, I think. Text President Biden, your message of support. Yes, I'm going to leave it up on this screen. So if you want to text, but this is just, I think it's, and there's one point where you sell your vote, you sell your opinion, you sell your loyalty, fine. But once you start selling your dignity, there is not just a political consequence or public consequence coming for him. This is a karma thing. If somebody who spent tens of decades in Washington, D.C., fighting for you, doing something for you, and you backstabbing him at 81 years old where there's no reason to backstab him, and the danger on the other side is so huge and imminent, that's a karma question. Honestly, that is a karma question. Just my thoughts. Okay, let's talk about Ukraine real quick. So past few days, the Aspen Security Forum has been going on, and a lot of people have spoken, but I want to draw your attention to somebody who really sort of described why the fight for Ukraine is important and what would be the outcome of that war and what shall we even worry about after. So this is the General Cavoli, Supreme Allied Commander in Europe. So take a listen.
The outcome on the ground in Ukraine is terribly, terribly important, vital to future European and global security. I think that's been well recognized over the last couple of days here. I think it's been well expressed on this panel. So supporting Ukraine is vital for our security. But we can't be under any illusions. At the end of a conflict in Ukraine, however it concludes, we are going to have a very big Russia problem. We are going to have a situation where Russia is reconstituting its force, is located on the borders of NATO, is led by largely the same people as it is right now, is convinced that we're the adversary, and is very, very angry. So we have a big Russia problem looming as well.
Absolutely. And this is not just for US. He is the European commander, right? So the Russia threat is there because Russian economy is now completely repositioned towards the war. It's a war economy. So this is not going to end if Zelensky were to give up territories. This would just lead to Russia using Ukrainian land as a fundamental basis and the people in Ukraine to fight further and invade Poland and Baltic states and whatnot. And so that infamous plan that Orban shared when he met with Trump, that that would be this, and together with Putin too, the way to solve this issue in 24 hours would be to demand Ukraine to give up the entire occupied territories, their occupied parts of regions, but to give them full regions, and to have NATO sign the agreement that NATO would not be expanding eastward, specifically into Ukraine and Georgia. So keeping that in mind, Zelensky gave an interview to BBC where he talked about J.D. Vance and Trump and their idea to settle the war within 24 hours. Take a listen.
When Donald Trump said last year that he thought this war could end within 24 hours if he was to meet both you and Vladimir Putin, what did you make of that?
So everybody will be happy if one person in the world doesn't depend Donald Trump or not. Okay, Donald Trump. If one person in the world, and this person Donald Trump, can stop the war during 24 hours. The question is, what the price and who will pay? So
do you think you would pay?
I think in his, I'm not meaning that his idea to push us to pay. But if he wants to do it during 24 hours, the simple way is to push us to pay. Because it's understandable how. It means just stop and give and forget. Sanctions out, everything out. Putin will take the land. Putin will make a victory for his society. We will never go on this, never. And there is no any guy in the world who can push us to do it.
So much to the plan. And so Zelensky met with the newly elected UK's PM, Prime Minister Starmer, and who in his turn announced that the UK plans to double the aid to Ukraine. So they, essentially, I reported yesterday that the European Commission re-elected Ursula von der Leyen, who now thinks about establishing more of a defensive alliance within European Union. So Europe is trying to make America great again. No, to make Europe and the aid for Ukraine, as they call it, Trump-proof. So if he were to come in and withdraw from helping Ukraine and being in NATO, what would happen next? So they're sort of waking up, in my opinion, a bit late, but they're working on it. Now, you saw Zelensky, who is the current Ukrainian president, who is meeting the current Prime Minister of the UK, talking about actual aid. On the other turn, Boris Johnson, the former UK Prime Minister, meeting the former President of the United States and saying, I'm more convinced than ever that Trump has the strength and bravery to save Ukraine and end this appalling war. And you just heard from Zelensky. We can talk about God and the world and impossible possibilities, but you want to end the war in 24 hours? Who's going to pay for it and what the cost? You're going to just kill people and give up land and make it concentration camp for Russia? Okay, well, Ukraine, as you just heard from Zelensky, is not going to concede and agree to those plans. Simple as that. So also, the video was leaked today. If you know perhaps of the Wall Street Journal journalist, Ivan Gershkovich, who was in Russia working as a journalist, working as press, and he was detained in Russia. That said that he was there as a secret agent and digging some information and intelligence materials, which is not true. And so he has been detained in Russia, and today he has been sentenced to 16 years in a colony, which is, if you remember Navalny and how that went down, this is sort of same structure. Here's a video of him being sentenced. Take a look. And so President Biden issued a statement saying that journalism is not a crime, press is not crime, and so they will work on getting him back. My fear is that Russia is waiting for Trump to be reelected and to handle this big victory as the man who is for peace and gets the peace deals here, there, and everywhere. That is sort of my fear, that they're waiting for that. But again, either or for his family, that would be always welcome, regardless who does it, how they do it, when they do it, as soon as possible. The sooner, the better, and better it should have been. Not even happening, but release him yesterday. So that's the news. And I want to finally share, before I let you go, share some updates that we got from the campaign, the Biden-Harris campaign, with their plans for the future and for the next week and so on. So Team Biden-Harris will host more than 20 press events and thousands of organizing events across the battlegrounds, bringing the stark contrast we've seen in Milwaukee directly to voters who will decide the election. So I will release more information on that as they release it as well. Today, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff did campaign in Arizona, joined Black community leaders at an Arizona Black leadership panel to emphasize the dangers of Donald Trump's and MAGA Republicans Project 2025 agenda. He also then attends tonight the WNBA All-Star Weekend Skills Challenge and 3-point contest. So VP was just announced this evening. She will be traveling to Milwaukee for a campaign event, and this will be her 5th visit to Wisconsin this year, and this will be this coming Tuesday. And as mentioned before, President Biden is excited to get back on campaign trail as soon as he can, planned for next week. Also, he would be, it is still planned to welcome Netanyahu, and Netanyahu will then also address the Congress. This is planned for sort of end of next week. So this is it for me for now. So thank you for tuning in. If we get news tomorrow, I will go live. Saturday is always this sort of, do we have news? We don't have news because I don't want to waste your time. But if you want me to discuss something specific, or you want me to come up live and talk about whatever, or talk to you about anything, let me know. Please comment to this video, and I'll see if it's worth your time, our time to meet tomorrow. Usually I'm live every night, 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. Saturday, last week, I was live because it was very busy. So let's see how it goes tomorrow. But if anything, I certainly would love to serve you more. And once again, thank you so much. Sunday is definitely off. I need one day to step outdoors because I never do. And then we resume. So thank you for watching. Any questions, just message me, email me. And by the way, I always encourage you, please subscribe to this honest.substack.com. I send emails with articles, with my opinion, with what I hear and what I see, and the clips to your email. It's free. And also Honest Network on YouTube. If you're not watching there, please subscribe, because this bird platform, with what I'm saying and what I'm standing for, God knows, hopefully nothing will happen. But if anything, I want you to have access for it and to it. So thank you and good night. Thank you. And applause to you guys. Have a great one. Stay awesome. Thank you so much, and likewise. So please join me on Substack. By the way, if you're subscribed, your email is coming in tonight. A bit later, I need to step out, and I'll get the interview, get the email to you. Oh, Honest, I thought it was one establishment. No. It's actually Honest. It's my name also, Olga and Nest, right? But when I put it together, Honest. It kind of like, because I want to be honest and straightforward, so that sort of resembles everything together. And by the way, before Honest, the whole network thing, because there are different programs and works, and there have been a lot of programs. So we had this, the logo was this red circle with white letters, Honest. And so at some rally, Trump said, we don't need fake news, we need honest news. And I guess people started sort of misspelling things, but they ended up on Honest Network website, which at that time only focused on series that I hosted. There were over 100 episodes called Black Owned, where I interviewed entrepreneurs, sharing their stories, sharing their businesses. The videos are still on YouTube, so you can watch them, and really highlighting Black businesses. And so all the MAGA flock went to this YouTube thing and like, where is he sending us? What the heck is this thing? So I changed from, red to gold, and, so nothing MAGA affiliated. Clever. Thank you so much. Thank you, Olga. You're the real news and OBS. Thank you so much. We keep it. And by the way, if there's any BS that you're feeling, or you feel like I have to do something differently, or there's any advice, share it with me. I always welcome constructive criticism, because that just makes us all better. Okay, I'm done. Go eat, relax, and forget about politics. Go outside and have a great weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow, if not Monday. All right? Thank you so much. We survived it. You survived it. All good. It's Friday. Happy Friday. Bye.